take a break from work. I've been working really hard, you know. That's, by the way, anybody who has publishing needs, whether it's ghostwriting, book edited, book published, we do it all at White Pine Publishing and Consulting.com. Check it out. And I've just been really busy with work and killing myself. So this Saturday, I surprised my wife. She went grocery shopping and stuff. My grocery store is 30 miles away, so it's a 60-mile round trip. Plus, she built a website for our church, so she had to go meet with the church elders and kind of they all go over the church stuff. And she built a website, like a whole $5,000 website, which is pretty cool. Look at all these deer tracks. That's a deer bed right there. Look at the deer bed's right here. But anyways, so I surprised her. I cleaned the whole house, you know, and just saved her from having to do it. Washed the dishes, cleaned the house. She came home, it was all good. Now, what you're seeing here is not a deer bed, but this is where deer would eating. They're scraping the ground away here and eating. There's some clover and stuff under there. And this, funny because I recently had some woman tag me about tracks. Somebody's like, what kind of tracks are these? They look alien, the space, they just come out of nowhere. More deer eating. And it's clearly a squirrel. But when I told them that, I said, it's a squirrel. It jumped out of the tree, off the tree, and then they bound, you know, like 5 feet every step. There's snow, they can't run through the snow. And some other lady says to me, that's definitely a deer. And I'm like, listen, lady, I don't want to seem like a know-it-all, but I'm like essentially like a semi-pro deer hunter. I live out in the woods and tracks, that's what I do. It's a squirrel. No, you're wrong. All right, I'm not gonna argue. But anyways, look at all the deer tracks. That's where a deer just would pee. This is like these various trails the deer come through. Oh, anyways, so I decided to take a nice little evening stroll down through my property. This is what I love to do when I need a break. And just like, I might see tracks from a bobcat or coyotes. Right now all I'm seeing is deer tracks, but you never know. I want to go check out the deer beds where they bed. It's always interesting because I kind of know where they bed, but I like to verify it. But yeah, so it's a beautiful evening, quiet. It's about half a foot of snow. This is my food plot right here. This is one of my food plots. The big one that we just walked through it. This is my secondary pre-plot. It's all eaten down. There's nothing left, and they mowed it down like a goat would do. But here's a deer bounding right here. This track's right here. Boom, boom, boom. So he's running. And then these are all more deer tracks going and going. And here's a big deer right here. The big ones drag their feet. So you see how it dragged it through the snow? Big bucks do that. That's, if you do this enough, and I am like a semi-pro deer hunter. I'm pretty spastic about it. I mean, I'm obsessed about it. But here's the perfect example. Here's a squirrel track. So the track. See how the track? That squirrel's going up to the tree, but often they'll jump out of the tree and land right here, and then bound, and she couldn't figure out what it was. Well, that's an interesting track right there. That little one. You know what that could be? A field rat. Yeah, maybe a field rat. Or it could be a mink or a weasel. The little ones here. That's a squirrel, most definitely, going from there to that tree. Here's another squirrel track right here, and that's why they just couldn't figure out what it was. Now here's a deer. It's staggered. Boom, 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 boom. Anyway, part of the fun of living out in the woods and being an obsessed spastic deer hunter is getting you to do this and go learn the tracks and habitat. What a few tracks over here. The deer track walking through here. Oh, you know what? The deer like to eat cedar balls. So that's why, if you notice, there's no cedar all the way up to like as high as they can reach. No, they eat them. They come under here, and if they can reach up and grab it, they will. So this is you know what that would have been? The one I said was possibly a mink, a red squirrel. Probably a red squirrel. I mean, these are very clear squirrel tracks. But the little ones could be a red squirrel or a pine squirrel. And I like tracking, man. I like to figure out what I'm gonna do, they like to bed on the side of this hill too, the deer. A lot of tracks. I have so many deer that use my property, it's crazy. But the side of this hill is often a bedding area. Not the bedding area, but my neighbor's property is right there, like where you see it get lighter. They don't hunt though. I don't hunt on their property, but they don't hunt. And the guy's really cool, my neighbor, but I never asked him to hunt. It's turkey tracks. Now look at this. Look at all these tracks. Look at this. It's crazy. Well, that's because there was a flock of turkeys came through here. You know, a flock of 10, 15 turkeys. I have as many as 50 turkeys that come through here on a regular basis. I really want to find a coyote track or this is where they're coming through. All the deer coming from over there. They bed on their property, which is a safe place to bed. Nobody bothers them. I don't bother them. But I haven't been hunting. So, but the thing is, that's a turkey track right there. But they're so, they ate my food plot down to the point where there's really no food left because they're kind of gluttonous. But, look at all these turkeys came through here, man. And you also can tell turkeys when they have this big, like, you know, this like a big valley. As them dragging little fat bodies, they'll go single file line and they all just walk through it. They're funny. My tree stand is in that tree right there. And, you can see there's my ladder to go up. Once I get to the ladder, I still got to keep going up there. And that's where I hunt. And I have other stands on the property. I have a total of 3 and a couple ground blinds. But this is the best place. And it's just the best place for me to be in terms of habitat, in terms of travel routes. Just in terms, this is a food plot right here. It's all mowed down. And still got a camera on the tree. I have a camera, I'm surprised I didn't get motion. And I don't know, it doesn't work as good when it's cold. It doesn't give me that many alerts when it's this cold, 10 degrees, whatever. But yeah, the deer ate all this down, and so there's no food for them, even to dig up. I did throw some cedar balls. You can see those little twigs? I broke some cedar balls off a cedar tree and threw them in there, and they ate all that quick. This is my little watering hole with a stick. The reason I got a stick in there is in case a mouse gets in there and doesn't drown, or a squirrel, which I have seen squirrels go down that stick and get water. I've seen deer when the water was only like this low, like just working so hard to just get on there and get a drink. It's crazy. Yeah, here's the turkeys again. Heck of a track. I'm gonna go to the bedding areas. Where this is a mock scrape right here. This thing right here is hanging. I put that deer hanging on this rope, and I clear the ground off underneath it, like, you know, during the season, and like drop doe urine there, and bucks do use it. I've seen them do it. Oh, most of all the deer use it. They walk up, sniff it, rub their face on it, and then pee. But especially bucks. It's definitely a hot spot for the bucks. No big ones though. That's the problem. The problem is the big ones are smart. They're smarter than me. No, the problem with the big ones is they are smarter than me, but there's not many big ones because the neighbors shoot them all. The neighbor's a poacher. Everybody around me is blasting every buck they see, and so you just can't see many. Maria saw like a 10-point about 400 yards that way off our road, like over there. And it was chasing a doe across the road. I don't even think it was dark, but you know, he could have been transient. But it was after the rifle season, like 10 days into the rifle season. So he was still surviving like a G. But that's a big deer track right there. And so, anyways, I take deer hunting serious, but look at all these tracks. Like, that's how crazy my property is. Like, so many tracks. There's another big one dragging his feet. It's a big track right there, big track. And This might be a coyote right here. Look at this. I think this is a coyote or a bobcat right here. Hard to tell because it's got snow on it. Definitely not a deer or a squirrel. This is a coyote or a bobcat came through. Probably a bobcat because I've seen sign of bobcats. That's a bobcat. So he's right there. He jumps to right there. He jumps to right there, and he's tracking deer too. He's looking for small ones or sick ones or old ones. You know, a bobcat will kill a deer. Look, one of these deer just took a huge leak right here. Look at that. Peed a hole in the ground. Yeah, so, and there's another one. So this is kind of moving towards my bedding. This is a ground blind that I don't use, but I have. And the first time I ever used this ground blind, I saw 25 deer all around me right here. Not at the same time, but over like for 3 hours, I saw 25 deer. The very next day, I came back in this ground blind and saw 30 deer. They're all coming through here, and all of them within bow range. All of them. I had a couple little bucks come from right here to the thing. Decent little bucks, you know, like 4 or 5 pointers. And look at, see, this is what I was saying about the bedding area. I'll show you. So this is where they bed. And bedding, they're only bedding 100 yards from my tree stand. So bed. That's I see the deer. I hear a deer take off. You can see that was a big deer. Spent the night right there. And there's 2 deer right there, probably their mother and a fawn. If you go up there, there's another bed. It's interesting to learn where they live and why. There's another one up there. This is a safe place. It's by cover. See, it's just beds all over the place here. So there's just tons of deer beds. Right there, right there, right there. I mean, look at the tracks. That's what I'm doing. I'm out here hunting deer beds just to kind of evaluate. Look at it, all over. Boom, 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 boom. That's not even the best place either. I'm gonna walk over to the best place, which is usually the best place for bedding, is just up here. But I mean, look at the amount of tracks through here. Yeah, I don't hunt that blind because they will bust you. They'll get hip to you. So yeah, I saw a bunch of deer in the first couple of days, all right? But some of them started coming in downwind, which is that way, and they started busting me. They started stomping and snorting and, you know, acting a fool. So all the deer got nervous and they're staring at me. There's a deer right there, and I'm in the ground blind. I'm like 12 yards from them, right? And they got spooked and snorted and spooked off. And by the 3rd day, I only saw like 5 or 6. So it's just one of those things where you get a day or two before they nail you down. Nail you. And then it's usually one big doe. Here's another bed. Usually one big doe who's smart, old, nervous. She'll stomp her feet and sometimes snort. You hope she doesn't, because if she snorts, it's over. They take off, all of them. So she snorts and takes off. Usually about 9 out of 10 will run too, because it's a warning. And if she's an old smart doe, you know, they'll listen. They might not see you or smell you, but they'll listen to her. But sometimes they won't take off. Sometimes they'll snort and stomp, but they'll just sit there staring at the blind. But it's always cool to get close to them like that in the ground. You know, that's a big watering hole I have right here. I got a tarp in this hole, and it fills up with water, and the deer like it. There's another couple beds. That's a mother and a fawn, or a yearling. You know, a mother and a doe that was born in the spring. Mom there, yearling there. They always sleep very close to each other because she's the fawn's protector, and they listen to her. Not as many beds over here as I thought there would be, because they're usually all over here. I haven't looked around a ton yet, but yeah, usually they're all bedding over there. So there would be a bed over here. I have a giant berry briar on my property. I have like 4 acres. Maybe not 4, but probably 2.5 to 3 acres. This berry briar that runs back there. And the deer love bedding there around here. And one of the reasons is because they eat those berry briars. They're like little picker bushes. They eat those little pickers. They'll eat them. So when there's nothing else to eat, get the tracks though. They'll eat those pickers. They mow them down, bro. Them things are like 5 foot high. Like, you know, by the fall, by spring, they're like 2 feet high. They just nibble them down. So they like to bed around here, and then they can just go nibble. Now, deer eat like 3 to 5 times a day. So here's a deer with diarrhea. This one here has got some digestive issues. Yeah, it's this lone deer. Yeah. And they will eat. Yeah, see, this thing's got explosive diarrhea. I mean, this deer's got some digestive problems. Might have eaten something that he shouldn't have, or she shouldn't have. Probably don't. But she got some explosive diarrhea. It's not good. I found a deer kill over here, right over here. I think it's right beneath this tree right here. Yeah, either a bobcat or a coyote kill. Look at more explosive diarrhea, man. This deer's got issues, man. That ain't good. That's what the coyotes and bobcats are looking for, a deer that's weak, sick, and or young. If they see a small one, they'll kill it. A bobcat will grab it by the throat and won't let go. Drag it down and take it out. You know, there's nobody there to help them. They were eating right there. These are all dead ash trees that I can cut down for firewood. See, I have another ground blind right over here. I've hunted in it a few times in the first year or two and saw deer. I actually stalked a deer from that. I got out of the blind and there was a deer behind me moving through, and the wind was blowing really hard, so it couldn't hear me. And I go creeping through this berry briar, and I got within like 35 yards. Now my bow was sighted in for like 28 yards. So I ended up taking a shot, but I aimed high because it was like a little out of my range, and I shot right over it and missed it, which is good. I don't want to wound them. But I learned that my crossbow, you know, at 10 yards farther than where it's sighted in at, it only drops like 2 inches. So it wouldn't have made a difference. I got a crossbow that shoots 450 feet per second, which is very fast. Very fast. One time I went into that blind right there to hunt, and I opened the door, and there's a big fat raccoon in there. Big fat one, like half hibernated. I'm like, I'm trying to be quiet. I'm like, get out of here, man. Get out. And he wouldn't get out. So I started like nudging him with my foot. Get out, get out. I said, there's only one of us going to stay in this thing. It ain't going to be you, so beat it. And he waddled off. It's cute though. I like raccoons. But, just for the record, I do like raccoons, and I don't kill them, you know, if I'm hunting or whatever. But I have eaten them, and they're delicious. So there's that. If you ever need to eat raccoons, and there's quite a few of them, they are really good. Like, they're really good. You know, squirrels and rabbit are really good too, but raccoon's even better. Closest thing I can describe it to is lamb. So good. Cook it in a crock pot for 3-4 hours. Deer everywhere. And then they're delicious. Funny story. One time, one time I cooked a raccoon, right? And made it, and then I came in from working out with my girlfriend and her friends. A couple, it was like, you know, a guy and a girl. They come in, and I just heat some raccoon up, and they can't see it's in a crock like a pot. And they're like, man, this smells really good. Oh, I'm like, what is it? I said, roast. And my girl right away knows it's not roast, but she don't say nothing. I'm like, you want some? They were high, you know, they had the munchies, they smoked some weed. I said, you want some? Yeah, man, hook it up. So I hook it up, and I give them a plate with potatoes and carrots and onions and meat. What is this here? That's just a small young deer. And so they eat it, and they just wolf it down, and they're just into it. And they're like, man, it's the best roast I ever had. And I say, yeah, a lot of people don't realize how good raccoon is. And they're like, what? And my girl starts laughing. And I'm like, yeah, it's just raccoon. So then I show them. I take the pot that I cooked it in, and I like lean it over, and it looks like, what it would look like a little dead animal that's just got meat on the bones, and I hacked a bunch of meat off of it. And so they weren't freaked out at all. They're just, dang, that's good. I'm like, I know. That was a crazy time when I shot that. I shot it with a 22, and I shot a squirrel and wounded it. I ended up getting it. It ran up into a tree, and let's go this way. And then I was trying to find the squirrel in the tree, and then I see the crotch of a tree. This is far away too. It's like 80 yards away. And I see it in the crotch. What I think I see fur through my scope in the crotch of a tree. Line up my scope. Bang! I shoot it. Big fat raccoon comes tumbling out. Shot it right in the head. Then the squirrel moved, and I shot the squirrel too. So I brought them both home and ate them. I shot a couple raccoons over the years, hunting with my dad when I was a kid. Hunting small game hunting. Look at the deer. Look at the deer. Look at her. Look at him. This is crazy. There's about 15 deer. That's crazy. Yeah. There's some more too. And the woodliner still running. There's another one. Tail up. There you go, right there. Well, I mean, I kind of figured I was going to jump some deer here. But I have one more ground blind over here that I made. And one time I hunted it the day after I shot a doe a few years ago. And so I had one more day left of hunting season. So I said, you know what? I'm going to sit in this little ground blind that I made. Because you never know. Maybe a big buck comes by. Because I could shoot another tag. So I ended up making a ground blind over by that pine tree right there out of just brush. And actually, I didn't even have a ground blind then. I just kind of leaned against the tree. That was it. And so a couple of does come out right here and working their way toward me. The wind's blowing this way, so the deer can't make me. I had a doe come within like 5 feet of me. I'm just sitting against that tree right there, facing that way. And the wind was blowing to my left, so I knew I was good on the wind. And this deer comes munching along, and it's just munching and munching and munching, and it gets within 5 feet of me. And he starts looking at me. It's like looking at me. I'm like, yeah, bro, I'm a human. But it just goes to show you that they don't. If you don't move, because they're colorblind, you know. And so if you don't move, they're not gonna put two and two together. Obviously you're some kind of weird anomaly, that seems awkward and out of place, but they if they can't smell you, they can't see you. That's the thing about deer. They have to smell you. Well, usually if they have two of the three major senses, they'll bust. Sight, sound, smell, sight. But the main, sense they rely on is their nose. Like 90%, literally, it's 90%. So if they catch a wind of you, that's over. And they can smell you at like 300 yards away. Look at this. Look at all these tracks right here. Look at this. This is my property line right here. I'm basically on my property line right here. Yeah, but the deer, if you're upwind from them, a deer can smell you at 300, 400 yards. I've had deer bust me at 300-400 yards. Wind was blowing that way, and I hear a deer going, "Fah, fah." I mean, there's no reason for him to be blowing. He smelled me. That was the first year I hunted after I got off parole. So I learned so much since then. But look at these tracks, though. These are right on my property line. It's crazy. Now, the guy who lives behind me or has a property behind me, he's got a blind over there. I don't know. This is what I do when I'm bored. Not that I'm ever bored, but that's what I do. I just kind of go out in the woods, poke around, sniff around, make a video, show you the property. They've been eating the crap out of that pine tree right there. Look at it. All sitting around there munching on that pine tree. So this is basically my property line to the back of it. I actually brought this property on land contract for a really good deal. And so glad I did. And that's where the bucks bed, back in that cedar swamp. Not so much the does. But there's just 15, 17 does over there I jumped. So they're just bedded on the edge of my neighbor's property. So you can see this is my property line. You see, like on the right, there's like a tree line. On the left, it's mine. And it goes all the way to as far as you can see that, like, the wood line that, I don't know, it's probably 300 yards away. It's just, if it hadn't snowed so much in the last couple of days, I'd be seeing like coyote. This could be a coyote track too. I don't know, hard to tell. Or a turkey even. That's a turkey track, yeah. They're in here though. A lot of activity. That's a squirrel. No, I haven't seen any rabbit tracks yet, but they're in here too. That lady was trying to argue with me. That's a deer. I'm like, lady, you gotta be kidding me, man. Like, this is what I do. Look at this. Look at this from the turkeys. It's like valley they walk through. Whole bunch of turkeys right here, right here, here. That's a nice log right there. I burned it. Man, look at the turkey, the turkey runway. Turkeys are funny as hell, man. They are funny animals and very smart. Very smart. They're not really that scared of humans though. They don't like them and they won't like intentionally get too close to them. But there sometimes will be in my yard and I'll go outside to take a video of them. And there's 12, 15 of them about 30 yards away just looking at me. They start walking away, but they don't freak out. Like a deer, obviously, if you walked outside and the deer saw you. I mean, I've done that with deer, snuck out of my house and got within 20 yards of them while they're eating on my property. There's a runway. So if I see a bobcat track, it's because they're after the deer. But a bobcat has to be a big bobcat, and it can't be a little female. But if it's a big bobcat and he's hungry enough, he'll go after a full-grown deer. Probably not a full-grown deer, I mean, he might. Hard to kill. But a yearling that only weighs 80, 90 pounds, they'll go for it, bro, and kill him. But the coyotes run the deer down. So if they like, you had all these deer bedded back here, we just jumped them. If a pack of coyotes come through here and they get the wind of one, they'll just single one out and chase it for like 5 miles. Not even. Deer doesn't even have 5 miles in them. Deer's only got about a mile. They don't have endurance. My dog has endurance. They like sled dogs. You can go for 200 miles. A deer can run fast for a quarter mile, half a mile. By 3/4 of a mile, he's starting to slow down. At a mile, he can barely walk. He's just so exhausted. So the coyotes just catch up. They follow the scent trail and they catch up. But it's easy to lose them too. It's easy to lose them, and you can see why. Look at all these tracks. There's deer tracks everywhere, right? Everywhere. So if you're a coyote on a deer that you're after, it's so easy to lose them, and that's why they don't get them all. If they can single one out and like in a fresh track, they can get them. But it's so hard, and the deer know that. They know they'll run around these track places like runways, and the coyotes get confused. Are we in the right one? There's the tracks of 30 deer in here. And, they can't keep them up. They try, but eventually they get one. Yeah, they certainly eventually get deer. They kill a lot of deer. That's why I don't like coyotes. I have a friend of mine at church. His name is Logan. He's a state trooper, and he's a coyote hunter. And I said, bro, you can come over and hunt all the coyotes you want, man. There's a ton of them around here. I hear them every night when I'm deer hunting. Whole packs. One over there, one over there, one over there. I said, man, he doesn't have night vision. He's waiting for that. He's going to get a good night vision scope. I said, get you a good night vision scope. We'll set it up with a predator call, a rabbit in distress. You put a little piece of fur on a string by the edge of the field, and like an injured rabbit, and you pull the string, and the cows will come running up, and then you can just blast them. And by the way, if he kills one, I'm going to eat it. I'll eat a coyote. I've never eaten a coyote, but it's runway. But I don't waste, I don't kill just to kill. If he kills one, I'll eat it. I know coyote is good because I read the Lewis and Clark journals. And I don't know if you've never read Lewis and Clark journals, you need to. They're amazing. There's like 17 books, but they have condensed, highlighted ones for 500 pages. But anyways, well, there's a buck scrape right here. So they ate a bunch of dogs. The Indians would sell them dogs. They didn't want to eat horses. They were sick of eating horses, so they would trade horses for dogs. That's from a deer, buck, probably a young buck. Scraped it up. Could have been a big buck. You never know. But yeah. So rather than eat horse, the Lewis and Clark teams were like, we'll eat the dogs. So the Indians would trade them, 8, 10 dogs or whatever for a horse. And then they just eat the dogs. And they said they were really good. And the reason they did it is because they tasted better. I mean, I imagine horses probably pretty good too, but clearly they didn't think so. It's tricky walking through here right now because I don't know what's below my feet. And you could easily, step on a log like I just did. And like roll an ankle. You gotta really be careful and hyper vigilant when you step down. Because one wrong step on a log, boom, you roll your ankle. You're going down with a broken ankle. You gotta be careful. I want to take some of these trees and replant them. Right here. This year I want to take 4 or 5 of these trees and put them on these pine trees. Put them in my front yard. I should have done that before when my friend Dan was here. We got 13 trees, 12 lived. We should have got some bigger ones like this. Anyways, thought I'd share my property. This is bored, really. And I like to share it with people and talk about deer hunting. Not like I have that many people to talk to. I can drive my wife nuts talking about deer. And she enjoys it to a degree, but she's finally just like, dude, shut up. I don't care about deer hunting. I do. Wow, look at this. Look at this is a tree that got rubbed up by a nicer buck. And then this tree got devastated. This is from a buck. Just devastated this tree. And they always hit these trees on the edge right here because it's a property line. It's kind of where does and everybody travels through. So there's another one right here. And the bucks are laying dominance, and they're telling does on Boss Hog. And last deer I killed, I threw the carcass over here, man. It got eaten quick. But that, and a buck would be like, this is it. This is my property. This is my property line, and I'm the boss here. That tree is hit. That tree is hit. That tree is hit. All of this from bucks. You can see it's all scraped up. All these trees got rubs on them. This is my life. Hopefully you got to enjoy it and learn something. You saw some deer. I saw 15 deer. And I'm just gonna turn the camera off and walk quietly and just listen to the peace and quiet as the sun sets. And just be at peace with life. And thank God. That's the thing. God has blessed me so abundantly. And that I have life, health in this place that belongs to me. And I get to see all this. Look at all these deer beds. I mean, that's incredible. This whole tree, this one's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 deer beds around this one tree. Another one over there. It's just awesome, man. God is awesome. That's all I'm saying. God is good. I can't say that enough. I need to say that more. And just be like, God is so good. He loves me. Another bed right there. Deer poop. I mean, there's another bed right there. And another one on the other side of that log right there. And there's one right there. A lot of deer activity. I got a bunch of dead ash trees here I can cut down for firewood, and I need to do that. There's a couple dead ones right here. That one right there's got to go in the middle. This one might be one of my next trees. It's really bad shape. Perfect fire. That's enough firewood to heat my house for like 2 weeks. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Oh, what is going on over here? Oh. Yeah, they were eating over here or something. That's why the It's all pulled up, the leaves. That's a deer, but it could even be a squirrel. But something was digging around, eating something down there. They're like, I'm going this way. Well, there's a squirrel track right there. Squirrel. Well, God bless. Hope you enjoyed a tour of my property. I'm going to be quiet and sneak my way back in and try to scare my wife. God bless. I'm out. Boom.